I like to think of myself as a respectable, upstanding member of this little community, shriveling up in the Texas sun all day and then freezing up overnight. My name's Colton, and I'm a police detective working on crime scenes. You know, that guy who's taking pictures and dusting around in the background of horror movie scenes. That's me. Never heard or seen, but completely essential. I want to tell you about a specific case I worked around 4 months ago. Short version, a man had been severely tortured to death for no apparent reason. But my very experienced experience of the job, there's always a reason. He was brutally beaten, as most are in this situation. Evidence of other means of torture such as waterboarding, cuts to open flesh and acid burns were just the tip of the iceberg. I could go on. But there was something about this one that was strange. It was like the killer enjoyed themselves and didn't choose to hide a lot of what they had done. Almost like they were showing off of sorts. Long story short, they never found the guy who did it, and closure for me and the family were never achieved. A few months pass. Many cases, all of them murders. That's what I specialise in. They seem to be all men, aged from 22 to around 32, and were a mixture of all ethnicities, heights and weights. I lived alone in a very big house that my grandfather built with his bare hands. I loved this house. People told me it was haunted, but I never believed in that crap. I always told them that I'm the scariest thing in this house, and I've seen far more death than any ghost has seen. I would stake my life on it. Growing up in Texas, I had it great, to be completely honest. I had both parents around who loved me, 2 older sisters, and even a dog called Sally. I loved Sally. We were a pretty wealthy family, as my mother owned hotels around the state and my father was a published author. We always got what we wanted for Christmas and didn't really want for anything. The one thing that I didn't like was the fact that I couldn't go to a normal school. My father sent all 3 of us to this same private school where they teach you one-on-one, so I didn't have real interaction with children my own age apart from my sisters, but we didn't really get along. I grew up and got excellent grades, and always loved detectives and solving crimes and those old shows that you see at late nights. So that's what I did. I went to college, graduated with honours, moving to a more lively part of the state and started my new career. I love what I do and have had many strange cases, but my biggest case happened to be only yesterday. So I felt I should write it down so that I don't forget any details while it's still fresh in my mind. I'll start from the beginning. I was called out to the scene of another murder, this time a stabbing. From the looks of the man, he seemed like he was in some kind of gang affiliation due to his appeal and tattoos. "This one's a strange one," a rusty voice said from the shadows of the alleyway. "Multiple entry wounds to the stomach and chest, so the killer was right in front of them, but didn't defend themselves, because they have no cuts to their hands or arms." I've seen this kind of thing before. It's usually because the victim knew the killer and was caught by surprise, therefore didn't have time to react to the situation. Now, I have various informants around the city, and at this moment I got a text from one of them saying that the suspect that I'd sent feelers out for had just surfaced at a home only 4 blocks from the crime scene. I make my excuses and tell the guys unseen that I want a full toxicity test before continuing. Complete BS. I just wanted to leave to follow up this lead, so I did. I got to the house, drew my weapon. I searched the whole house, but couldn't find the guy. It was only when I was walking down the driveway that I heard 2 gunshots behind me. I span 180 degrees to find the man crouched beside the porch, that as soon as I'd seen him, he was gone. He turned the gun on himself and pulled the trigger. At this point, everything started to go slower, darker. I looked down to see 2 gaping holes in my chest with blood everywhere. I fell to the ground, and that's when... Back to our regular scheduled program, folks. as I open my eyes to find myself in a room that I know oh too well. 4 walls, with the one in front of me having a giant bulletproof glass window where judging eyes passed every day. This man is named Carlton. He is our most dangerous patient by far. He is admitted to the torture and killing of over 23 men, but the number is believed to be around the 40 mark. He also lives most of his time in a fantasy world which changes almost on a daily basis. Oh, that doctor. He looks at me like I'm a dog these days. But this dog would love to play with him. I bet he smells like pen ink and hand sanitizer. Anything to mask the normal human scent, as he appears to be above all patience. Well, I've been in this hospital for 2 years now, and they say I will spend the rest of my life in here, with only myself as company. That's all I've ever had anyway. I woke up the next morning on my hallway floor with vomit in my hair and a headache that felt like my head was splitting in half at the slightest sound. I didn't have work today, thank God, and decided to spend the day in bed recovering from this immense hangover. I don't usually drink. This was actually the first time in 4 years that I